This dip is the what? The touchdown? I'm incompetent with sports, quite clearly, but I promise you, I know what I'm talking when it comes to the dip. This is my version of a 7-layer dip. The one that you find in the supermarket is usually really prettily layered with very distinct sections of sour cream, beans, guacamole, or whatever. This has similar elements, but it comes together in a skillet. It's warm and it's cheesy and it's fresh. The biggest flex of this recipe is using American cheese. I know some of you are going to be like, ew, that's not cheese. Stop it. It's actually a miraculous invention. It has sodium citrate in it. It melts and it stays melty and gooey, and that's what you want in a queso. I include a slightly sharper cheese. This one is Monterey Jack, just to bring a little bit more flavor. The American cheese can be a little acidic, so this one balances it out. I always like to shred my own cheese because the pre-shredded one is tossed in some cellulose to prevent clumping in the bag, and it doesn't melt as well. Okay, next I'm going to prep the stuff that I need for the refried bean layer. I'm going to start by dicing up an onion, slice some garlic. The chipotle peppers, I think most of us are familiar with. They're essentially smoked jalapenos in this vinegary adobo sauce. They're quite potent, so I don't want it to be that spicy. The last thing I need to do is rinse and drain my beans. Most recipes start with canned refried beans. For this one, I wanted to start by making my own just to control the texture, the spiciness. I am going to start by melting my butter. I use butter instead of oil. I think it adds like a nice dairy richness that complements the beans very well. Once the butter is melted, I'm going to go in with all of my onions. I like to cook it on a lower heat till it gets a bit translucent, then crank the heat up, and you can build color that way. You can see that the onions have picked up quite a bit of color. I'm going to go ahead and add my garlic and also the cumin. I think it complements beans really well. Once that garlic starts smelling fragrant, I'm going to go in with my chopped chipotles. Takes a full tablespoon of salt, which seems a little alarming, but beans are really thirsty and can suck in a lot of salt. Add the beans, a cup of water, and as this is simmering, I'm just going to go in with my potato masher, and really at this point you can control the texture. You can keep it very coarse and chunky, or you can make it really smooth and put a bunch of effort into it. The last thing I'm going to do is turn the heat off, and I finish it with a little bit of vinegar. This just wakes up all of the flavors. I'm going to push them to the back of the stove and make my queso next. This is probably the most fun and interesting part of the recipe to me. It starts with a bit of water, medium-ish heat, a little bit of ground cumin, and also some of that adobo sauce from the can of chipotles. Then a pinch of salt, of course. And once the water comes to a simmer, I'm going to add the magic ingredient of American cheese. And you can see it just melts virtually no time at all. That sodium citrate is really working hard here and helps keep everything together so it won't break on you. What I mean when I say the cheese will break if you don't use the right combination of cheeses, it'll separate into this grainy, oily mess. The cheese will be in clumps at the bottom, and it just never comes together no matter how much you stir it. And now I'm going to add my other cheese, which is Monterey Jack, just to bring a little bit more flavor. This part I like to do off the heat just to minimize any chances of it breaking, and there should be enough residual heat in the pan. I'm delighted with how mine looks right now. It's perfectly smooth and melty and runny. And here's what I love about using the queso over just melting cheese on top, is that it buys you some time and it still stays fluid as you're sitting in front of the game and eating it. Both the warm components of my skillet dip are ready, so now I'm going to move it over and we're going to build it in the skillet. Okay, Okay, I have all my garnishes now that I'm going to prep. I'm going to start with my scallions. Thinly slice them. The next thing I'm going to do is the avocado. Hold the knife fairly stable and then twist the avocado. You could spoon out the avocado, but I don't know. I like to peel the skin off gently and lovingly. Okay, I'm going to dice these, keeping them fairly large. Toss them in some lime juice and salt. Otherwise, they're going to be a little too bland. Okay, here is the warm bean layer. You can see it's thickened up a bit as it sat. I'm going to start by dolloping some of this cheese sauce all over the sour cream. I prefer to leave things in like dollops and not really spread them out in an even layer because then I feel each bite is more interesting that way. Next is the salsa. Let's do avocados next. Pickled jalapenos, they have this nice acidity that cuts through all the richness. A little bit of cilantro on top, tearing it apart. And then some scallions. Wow. I think it looks spectacular. I'm really excited. I love that you can see every component. It's colorful, it's fresh.
We can't bluff.
Okay, I'm going to squeeze lime on this for us. Yeah, you're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Just dip in. It's a dip. No need to be polite.
That's so good. It's super limey, which I love, but it's really well seasoned. It's so nice and creamy.
Better than supermarket 7-layer dip?
Oh, 1000%. And I love the pickled jalapenos on top. That's nice.
Yeah.
Touch.
You know I love me a pickled
respect it.
jalapeno.
Thanks, Shilpa. Love a good dip, and this was a good dip. Touchdown for Shilpa.
The beans are kind of grounding the whole dish, and then there's just enough cheese where it feels fatty and unctuous. And then you have all of these toppings that are adding texture, acidity, heat. Damn, very proud of this dip.